I can't say after starting 17 to 30 companies what entrepreneurship is because it's big and it's complicated. What I can say is what a lot of it is. And a lot of it is getting your thoughts out and communicating it to someone else. If it's staff, if it's financing, if it's systems, if it's structure, if it's customer service, a lot of entrepreneurship is just getting your thoughts out in a way that makes sense. Whether that's designing systems and communicating to staff how they should work, whether that's finding financing and communicating with financing partners what your value proposition is and what their risk position is going to be, whether that's communicating with partners what equity shares are going to be and where options schedules vest, whether it's talking to county permitting. It's a lot of being an entrepreneur. It's just trying to get your point across in an effective and clear way. I want to show you today a tool I use all the time. It's probably one of my most used tools in entrepreneurship, and that is just how to get a lot of information out quickly. Now, I answer emails all the time. I use this tool all the time to create all sorts of documents. It saves me a ton of time, a ton of money, a ton of effort, and it comes down to the fact that I actually speak way better than I write. It's because I can generate my ideas a lot when I'm talking, and I tend to have more trouble when I'm just typing something out. Moreover, it takes me way more time to type something out and structure it in the correct way so that it makes good sense. At the end of the day, I'm a talker, and so I use this tool a lot because I'm a talker, and it helps me get all the nuance. It helps me get it from in my head to actionable. I would say it takes me 10% of the time that it would take me if I was just writing everything out. If you're new to this channel, my name is Jeremy Watson. Over the course of my lifetime, I've started somewhere between 17 to 30 companies, depending on how you count. Right now, I'm running 7 companies actively. What's also interesting about me is I spent about a decade of my life in financial advice, consulting on just about $300 million. It's created this interesting stew of ideas and entrepreneurship. I'm trying to share that stew with the world. What I hope to do with this channel is just share some of the lessons I've learned along the way. I'm the dead last of 10 kids, and effectively, financially, I started as an orphan. I've made millions multiple times in my life, and I've lost millions multiple times in my life. I think this channel is a good place to kind of explain what happened, how it happened, what I wish I would have known, what I wish someone would have told me, and maybe above all, when to walk away from a company that you've been working on and when to push through. In a time where it's never been harder to be an entrepreneur, and it's never been easier. So here is a tool I use all the time, and it's 2 tools that I just use side by side, right? Number 1, I keep a Google Doc as one of my bookmarks. The number 1 top things that I use all day, every day, it is actually like on my bookmarks page. So I can just click it and open up a quick Google Doc. And I always have a million things open, but I probably click this button and open up the Google Doc, T to T, talk to text Google Doc. And it's just a Google Doc that I just talk into. And the reason why I use that, I know the next part, someone's going to be like, well, you can do that in the next program. I don't like it as much in the next program. I like having a record of what I did, and I like being able to insert some data into this talk to text format. So the reason I like the Google Doc is because it has its own record to text feature. So I'll fire it up. You click tools right here. Let me point at that for you. You click tools right here. You go into tools and then you click voice typing, or you click Control-Shift-S, and it will bounce up this little microphone. And here's how this 1-2 punch works. Hey, I need you to write an email to Nathan saying that we're going to have to get together sometime next week because my schedule has gotten really complicated. And we're looking forward to talking to him, but really, we're just not in a headspace to have that conversation right now, even though we are interested in the product. Please include that for our product to coincide with his product, that we need their product to be about 2% cheaper than it currently is, and that we need to have one point person at his company where we can relate the things to so we don't get lost in translation. But that's a big thing for us that we need to make sure happens. So now I've got a big, slightly complicated email. Maybe I have to drop in there the name of an LLC. Maybe I have to drop in there a couple specifics that I don't remember off the top of my head. But I'm in Google and I can just drop any facts into there and I can give the instructions to ChatGPT. And that's going to be the two punch on this. Number one, you just talk and you just get your ideas out there. And number two, you just take this and you drop it in ChatGPT, which is why my ChatGPT box is right next to my talk to text box, right? By doing it in Google Sheets, I have a voice to text tool, and then all I have to do is drop that in ChatGPT and then wait 30, 40 seconds while I go do something else. And I can come back to an email that's fairly professionally written. Right? Before we go farther, I want to give you a little bit of an intro to the channel if you're new here. Now, if you're new to this channel, this is not a ChatGPT workflow efficiency channel. That's not the purpose of this channel. I run 7 companies actively, and what I'm doing is trying to help you understand how it is to be an entrepreneur from some guy who's done it as much as anyone you'll ever see. And maybe a little bit of a guided tour of the type of stuff we do and why you might like it might be helpful. If I was to start anywhere on the channel right now, I would start right here at Trump's Tariffs Explained. One of the 7 companies that I own is a bandage company. It's called Crash Pads. We import directly from China. So the day after Liberation Day in 2025, we did a video talking specifically about all the intricacies of how Trump's tariffs affect my business, my bandage company. And what I did was I got a whiteboard out and I just walked through all of the different pieces of Trump's tariffs and how they affect a small business, from profitability to pricing a product to building a supply chain to employment to sales taxes to who pays the tariffs. And if I'm honest, I think it's one of the better explanations of how tariffs affect an economy of anything I've seen or heard. And it did really, really well. And we just walked through all of the intricacies of that. If that doesn't interest you, maybe you'd be more interested in enormous rehab. I've always loved rehabbing houses. This is the biggest rehab I've ever attempted. And I've flipped at least 20 properties over the years. But this rehab cost us $1,060,000. It's going to be years of work. It's a big, gorgeous, interesting, complicated rehab. And we're letting people follow along the entire time as we rehab the whole thing. It's an incredible project. It's got this, it's big 6,000 foot McMansion, and it's got this beautiful sliding rock feature into rivers. It's a fascinating project. If you're just interested in, hey, real estate investment, how do I get there? This video, Never Buy Rentals Here, is the simplest math that I can do to help people understand what makes a good rental and what doesn't. Where are markets that make sense and where are markets that don't make sense? If that interests you, feel free to look around, but it's an entrepreneurship channel. There's a bunch of different pieces. It's not just real estate. It's not just efficiencies. It's not just Turo. It's not just flipping. It's not just Airbnb. It's all of those things, because I own companies right now that do every single one. And that's basically saying what I want it said. I'm not having it research law. I'm not having it propagate crap that it has to go out and like imagine what I want. No, I've just told it what I want. I want a simple email. I want a simple memo. I want a response to an email. I want a limited power of attorney, like something simple, right? And I've had this do all sorts of crap. Hey, draft me a limited power of attorney. I read it over and I'm like, great. That just saved me $600 talking to my lawyer, or that saved me $200 on LegalZoom, whatever the crap, right? And so like for simple stuff, even for some fairly complicated stuff, I just talk to text into Google Docs, and then I turn around and drop that into ChatGPT, and then you can just refine it in ChatGPT, right? Scheduling. Hey, Nathan, I hope you're doing well. Wanted to reach out because our schedule's gotten pretty complicated and we're definitely interested in your product. We're just not in the right headspace right now to have that discussion at the moment. That said, we'd like to find a time next week to get together and discuss. everything properly. One key point for us is that in order for our product to align with yours, we need your pricing to come down in about 2% lower where it currently stands. Additionally, we need a single point person on your end who can relay information back and forth. This is a big deal to ensure nothing gets lost in translation. That's great, right? Like, I didn't have to write that email. I didn't have to subject line it. I didn't have to spend my time. That email, if I just wrote it, would have probably taken me 5 minutes. Maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter. Maybe I get interrupted in the middle of it and I have to come back to it throughout the day a couple of times. And that happens. And so maybe it takes me 3 minutes, maybe it takes me 15 minutes because I get interrupted or my kids walk in and then the thing shuts and I can't get it, like I can't get to it, and it's just not my priority, right? With this 1-2 punch, which I use all the time, I cannot tell you how much I use this. The whole process takes less than 45 seconds, right? I read over the email, I take it, I copy it, I paste it back into Google Docs because I've already got a Google Doc open where I started this journey. I put it back into Google Docs. I move that down so I've got a record of everything I've ever told Google Docs. I look at this, I make a couple small changes, I copy it, I paste it into Outlook, and it blasts out the email and we're good. I don't want it to sound like a dang robot, but I do want it to be a more professionally structured email than I want to write on a daily basis, or a more professionally structured basic terms of a contract than I want to write on a daily basis. There's some things that take some time, and this is really, it's a time saver for me to the nth degree. I know I started out by saying this is for emails, but it's not. I have used this in the past 30 to write letters to city council, to write letters to county council, to write funding proposals for small business administration loans, to write reacceptance letters to the SBA, to write documents to investors, to write vesting schedules for clients who are receiving stock options, to write an angry letter about a councilman who lost his dang mind. I use this just all the time. Anytime I need to compose a letter and explain something complicated, this lets me get it out quick. It lets me see where the holes are that I will eventually have to go back and fix. And it lets me get all of that into like a really nice composed letter quickly and easily. And it just saved me a ton of time. If you've enjoyed this content, learning a little bit from me on how to build a company and how to use some tools efficiently, I've got a whole bunch of that coming on the channel. The next video you're going to want to watch is called Entrepreneur Chaos: How I Run 7 Companies at Once, a day in the life. I'm going to put that right here.